Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's that time. Glad you're here. Today, we're going to dip into what the trucking market's been doing, maximizing your coverages with your insurance stuff. Got something to talk about specific there, very specific points. But, and then, we'll get into some other stuff. But first, you guys know I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
So we started looking for a way to save money on fuel. And we were turned on to the ES Advantage program for fuel first. And so we got a hold of Jeff Reese, and he ran us through that program. And man, we were starting to save. And then we started talking to them. Well, we saw their website and we said, Jeff, what's this thing about insurance and accounting and
Right.
you lease trucks? What?
Right, and that's the thing, is we only knew it as a fuel card. And when we started digging deeper, I mean, we ended up getting hooked up with an insurance provider, Seabright Agency, and they created an entire insurance program just for us and our people. And from that, we've learned that, now there's even more potential. There's a greater opportunity, and it's completely opened up our eyes and broadened our vision into what it is we're trying to do, which is help people do better. Wrapped with the ES community just makes that process so much easier.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
Puff the Magic Dragon lived in Charlie's head.
What?
That's not cool, bro. That's not
Dude,
cool.
I said Jeff's going to do the rest of the show solo. Nap time for me.
Yeah, whatever.
Read the chat, bro. God.
Come on, man. I know
That
you
was a
got
beautiful
home.
scene, though.
I know you got home last night before 4 a.m.
Yeah, barely. Dude, that day would not end, man. I was telling you about it. It just would not end. It just kept going and going and go. I'm not like, I can't remember a day on target like that day for me and Rosie. Because like at every turn was another delay. And we started out late because the load docked out late. I'm like, okay, got to the first store 15 minutes after the appointment time. I'm like, all right, that's not bad. I can usually make that up pretty quick just between the first and second store. And I had 4 stops. No, it progressively got worse from there on. Just, oh my God.
You ready for the standard Facebook response?
Yes.
Welcome to trucking, newbie.
Right. For real.
All those super helpful people out there.
It's your carrier's fault. Oh, and all the delays were minutes short of detention pay, of course.
Oh, of course.
Like one of them was an hour and 55 minutes at a store. My back call was right at 2 hours. I had just gotten the message for detention and then sent my departure.
All right.
Yeah, whatever. Just wouldn't stop, man.
Who gave that Charlie guy a wrench? I'm going to take that. How do I take that away?
Yeah, make it happen. You can't do it over there. You can do it if you're on the YouTubes like I am, but you can't, sucker.
Yeah, I don't have fucking freaking 5 screens. Hey,
See how quick I covered that for you?
Yeah. I don't have 5 screens like Charlie does. So I'm on this little bitty 14-inch thing.
Oh, God, we're just gonna highlight that.
No, we're not. See, Charlie only took himself off the screen but left his mic on, and I just turned his mic off, and I can do that. Put him in timeout because he's just gonna make fun of me at this point. He knows I've had a migraine most of the day. I've got the jitters, and now I'm in trouble with the wife. The kids are probably going, "Oh, I don't know."
Good
Are you done?
times. Oh, you salty old man, you. Whatever.
Oh,
You know what?
of course. Come on,
I
man.
like it. I think it's beautiful.
Oh man.
Drug runner. I feel like that's such a hard name to say for some reason. Was first.
Drug runner.
Dennis was second. And Mike Henderson was third. Craig didn't even make top 3. His bot must be broken.
Now, so Sean had an unfair advantage today because we were on the phone with him on a consulting call, and he asked us, "When are you going to put the show up, Charlie? I want to do first." And once again, we gave him the tip. We said, "Sometime today." So that's the unfair advantage that he got today.
That's what I told him earlier in the chat. Jeff and I were on the phone with Drug Runner prior to the posting today. He said, "I want to be first when you're posting." We said, "Today." Look, and when he asked, I legitimately didn't know how I was building the show today for us. Completely blank slate in my head was and brain not braining. I'm just saying it was not okay earlier today. And it went up really quick after that, which actually surprised myself. Surprised myself. And my AI was really helpful. It was awesome. So, yeah. But how's everybody doing? Glad to see you guys. Trucker Tim, he came in at like 5th today. That was awesome. Chris Hamilton's here. Let's see who else we got. I know Matt Nisson's around there somewhere. There he is. Lisa's there. Donna's here. Michael Fowler, good to see you. Actually here for a live show, not the norm. James, good to see you, buddy. Let's see. I don't know. Whatever. Glad you're all here. Hi. Welcome. Wade, good to see you. See, there's more. I don't know. If I miss you, I apologize. Life on 18 Wheels is the traditional. Hey. I like that one.
Hey.
I don't know how to do that. It's like I'm silly. Oh, it doesn't work in our StreamYard stuff. You got to do it from the YouTubes. I can do it on the YouTubes. Wait, I know how to do it. I'm going to do things. Look, I made a purple dinosaur.
We can rebuild it. We have the technology.
I made a purple dinosaur. Maybe it's a pink dinosaur. I'm not even sure.
Hey, did you hear that they were thinking about redoing the $6 Million Man?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
I actually think it would be a cool movie. We'll see who they get to play the guy. But, it's going to have to be like the $6 trillion man now.
Right.
Kate, so can we just put it out there that if catching Jeff swearing were a drinking game, you would have a long wait between shots. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm not talking about when you and I are talking on the phone and I'm in Atlanta.
Right.
That's different.
Pillow therapy for Jeff. I enjoy it personally. I sleep well following that.
So we do have a very comfortable couch in the basement. If worse comes to worse, that's actually never happened before. But
yeah, right. Oh man, that's good stuff. I don't know how to get out of the emojis now. Wait. Oh, there we go. I'll click it.
Click it.
There you go. I learned something. There you go. I know how to do things. Whatever. I'm a technology genius.
So weird that a TV commercial for a game came up. You remember the Bop It?
Yes.
Bop It. Click it.
Bop it. Click it. Spin it. Twist it. What? Yes. I got jokes that are not appropriate that I could absolutely get in a lot of trouble for right now. We could go down that rabbit hole, or you could change the subject quickly, sir.
Yeah. So
You're a failure. Hi, Ida. Good to see you.
oh
I had to call
yeah.
and make sure I got paid for a load today. I wasn't sure it was going to happen because my backhaul ended up like not happening because they couldn't get it. They didn't even start on my thing. It was supposed to be a drop and hook, and I was there hours later than I should have been to start with, and they had only picked it to 89% when I got there. Put me in a door. 2 hours later, they hadn't even started loading it, and I walked in. I said, "Look, I have to leave at 7:45." They're like, "Yeah, there's no hope of that happening. We got 40 pallets to put on there, and it's not going to happen." So I'm like, "Thank you. Can I have an empty?" They're like, "Bye."
Sweet.
They're like, "Well, why can't you say?" I said, "Because Target doesn't want to pay for detention." Hi, my love. Target doesn't want to pay detention. They don't like that, and I don't like paying detention. Let's be real. Hurts P&Ls and stuff. So I get it.
Yep. Better to get moving. You wanted to go home anyway.
Yeah, look. That's all I want to do is just go. And hey, look, it paid me the same either way. It didn't matter to me. So I would have made a couple more extra bucks on detention, I suppose. That's about it, But I'd rather not sit there for 2 hours, honestly. And if I'm going to be there for 2 hours, I'd rather make it 8. Is that wrong?
No.
Because at least then it's something, right?
Yeah.
But whatever. Down the rabbit hole we go, Lisa. Exactly. I'm just saying it gets crazy. We're not doing it. We're not doing it because Jeff's not going to let me get in trouble today. Although he may just want to get the heat off of himself, and I could understand that completely.
I'm just letting you go right now.
Because, I have the ability just to keep coming back to this. I'm just, and we can just make sure that stays in the forefront for the, more like the background forefront, but you know what I mean? Anyhow, that's not right. Let's go back to the purple dinosaur. Whatever. Yeah. So we should probably get onto a topic, Jeff. I was looking at Trucking Dive today, and they were talking about first we'll start with the spot rates. I would put this chart up on the screen, but it's really small and really hard to read, so I'm not going to do that. But they're basically, referencing a DAT type chart. Trucking Dive. It's a truckingdive.com. They have a decent little news section there. I kind of dig it. They get it into some pretty good stories. I've been really actually kind of digging that site, to be honest. Slow motion replay. That would be funny. God, I wish I had that ability. Right? F-bomb.
Oh, fudge. But that's not what I said.
Yeah. But spot rates seem to be doing fairly well as a whole right now versus, what we saw in 23. We seem to be on a pretty steady uptick, honestly. It seems to be a much more controlled climb this year. Whereas last year, we had a quick jump for the holiday seasons and all that, right? This was a lot more controlled. I think this is a lot more back to the kind of normal deal, right? Pre-COVID seasonal upticks and drops and all that. Spot rates are down 3 cents from last week. So last week they were apparently for dry van, were like 184. This week they're 181. So a really insignificant drop over the week. I think, I don't know. I think we're gonna have to keep an eye on some of that stuff. You guys that are out there on the boards and stuff like that, I'm really curious.
What are you seeing?
What you're seeing, where your averages are. With the average being 181. How are you guys faring? I know a couple of you guys are doing really well. So,
yeah, but we're still at that tipping point, Charlie, with dry van.
Right.
I'm where I'm at. I'm at $1.70 a mile plus surcharge. The thing that those charts don't show is if there's any negotiated surcharge, because that's on a load by load basis,
right,
with the brokers.
So we don't know if they're getting in it at all or if that's an all-in rate. It's a load by load thing. So it's a little bit different than what you and I are used to.
Yeah.
But if you just take it at face value, if I'm at $1.70 and my surcharge this week is 37 cents, I'm doing a little bit better than spot market.
Yeah.
But a savvy operator that has his own numbers, and that knows his numbers, right? He's gonna go in and negotiate that. And that's something that doesn't show up in these statistics.
Right.
Is that bump that they negotiate for themselves? Like, well, that's a good base rate. Now let's talk about what fuel costs me. And they start going back and forth via email these days.
Yeah.
Unless you're on a board like Truck Stop, where it is an all-in rate, but that's a different platform altogether than DAT. And DAT's the biggest data collection agency out there. So most of these numbers are going to come from them. And they tell you straight up, this is the base rate without surcharge. And so I think even we misunderstood that years ago, Charlie.
Right.
We thought that was just the rate people were getting, and it's not necessarily true. Now, there's some people out there that they're probably getting that rate, that $1.80, whatever it is. But what that tells me is they don't know how to negotiate. Right.
Right.
So, what I've gotten used to, because I have some negotiating power over here at Panther, is I ask them straight up, what work with me here, that's a good load and all that, but look at all those empty miles. I don't get paid as much on empty miles. What can we do to smooth that out a little bit? The difference between having your own numbers in a load board and working with a carrier like Panther, or even Swift, because we've done this at Swift, Charlie.
Right.
The magic words are, is there anything left in the load that we can negotiate on?
Right.
And Panther's been amazingly transparent.
They're just like, there's nothing in it.
Like they'll tell me, well, we're at this per mile and you're making that. So no, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room because we've got to make something here. And so because they're so transparent with me, and I can't speak to like Sean's over here. I don't know if he has the same conversations I do. There is kind of an art to it and you got to practice it.
Right.
But if you could get the carrier to trust you enough to give that information up, then you could be the guy that says, okay, but the load needs to get covered.
Right.
I'll go ahead and do it. And you can spin it like you're doing them a favor. Right. And what I've noticed is the more I did that, the more information I'm getting from them. Because they start to see how I operate, not necessarily the truck itself, but in my mind and how I run my business over here. They've got to the point to where they give some information up.
Right.
I don't know if they do that for everybody. But it took, I'm going to say 6 months of working with these guys before I started getting that kind of response. I do think that like anybody else, and the people that kind of mentored me in this thing warned me about this. When you're new and you're not used to negotiating, they will absolutely take advantage of you.
Right.
Just know that.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't know any better. And they're like, haha, we're going to make 40 cents a mile on this load.
Right.
Doesn't even know to ask.
Yeah.
And they're not going to tell you unless you ask. And so on the load boards, it's the same.
You ran into that very thing.
Right. Right. So when you've got your own numbers and you're dealing with these customers, whether it's a broker or it's a direct customer, you got to build the relationship. What I see in the ether, in the Facebooks, oh, I'm just going to buy a truck and a trailer. I'm thinking about, step deck, and I'm just going to use the DAT load board.
Right.
Okay. Good luck. I'm just going to put that out there. Good luck. The people that I talk to, Charlie, that are the most successful running their own numbers, they don't just go to the DAT load board. They go to the DAT load board and say, oh, there's Jake. I know Jake.
Right.
I'm going to give Jake a call and see what he can do for me on that load. Or they hear from a friend of a friend, hey, that Max guy, you might want to start working with him because He's got some good loads, and he's a pretty good guy. Or you hear from Sean, don't work with this guy. He ripped me off last month.
Right.
It goes both ways. And the thing is, it goes both ways for us too. Do you know about carrier 411 or 511, Charlie?
Yep. A
Yeah.
little bit.
So if you're a carrier, which means you have your own DOT number, so you could be a carrier and have just one truck, guys. Legally, you're a carrier if you have your own numbers.
Right.
These brokers can report you for apparently whatever.
Yeah.
And there is an appeals process to it, but it takes time. Not necessarily something like that for brokers, though. So, the hot topic right now is broker transparency. I don't care about that, but I do think that maybe a broker 511 would be a good idea.
Right.
If you're paying attention and you're part of the correct groups on Facebook, you'll learn which brokers not to work with pretty darn quick.
Rate per mile is a good one out there.
Is it?
Yeah. Those guys talk hard, cold numbers and real deals. And I mean, they get people in there like, oh, this broker sucks. And they have discussions and find out, no, it was the carrier that sucked, not the broker, or he didn't know to do something or, the right way to do something else. And it turned into a big nightmare. But then when other people got involved from their community, right? They're like, hey, man, this is how you should have handled that. And they're like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Or they do the sour grapes thing. It's still their fault. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem I have with most of the groups out there is that they're so negative on everything. I'll call out NOAA. They have the opportunity absolutely to help people. And yet it's just sour grapes galore, bad wine in that group. Every once in a while, you'll see someone with something they're actually trying to teach something, and they get the wimpy McPote thing. So negative,
Right.
Positive energy is not such BS, wimpy. It's a thing. Hey, I said it first.
And Wimpy, you're saying things like, while you're negotiating for a few pennies, somebody else grabs a load. It happens, right?
Yeah, that happens.
But those few pennies over the course of a year equal thousands of dollars, sir. Thousands.
Right. And so what if you missed out on that load? There's 10 more right there.
Right.
At least.
Because look, real quick. I want to talk about reefer rates. They dropped 6 cents down to 2.16, and flatbed went down a penny to 2.03, right? But this takes me into where I wanted to go here on that statement. I got to switch stories here real fast. The load to truck ratio. Okay. So if we look at with that being said, so you missed that one, right? Well, with dry van, there's still 7.8 loads per truck available out there on the roads. So yes, there is absolutely something you can. There's more freight to be had. Drive with John. 1 sec, buddy. Sorry. Email address. I know I got a button for it. Here it is. charliemahan.cc@gmail.com. It's spelled CHARLEY, sir. MAHON.cc@gmail.com. It's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Yeah, hope that helps. But I appreciate it. Whatever you're sending, I will gladly check out. But so there's always more loads, right? And if you're running those things, I mean, a lot of times the later in the day, the better those prices get on the same damn load. Let's be real. I mean, we see it time and time again until you have those really good relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
But so driving actually dropped from 9.1 to 7.8 loads per truck this week. Reefer dropped from 14.3 to 11.4. Flatbed rose from 26.4 to 27.4 loads to every one truck out there available. And there's an interesting thing on the flatbed side. So if I go back to December, the load availability was 13.5. And since December 6th, it's jumped to 27.4, right? I look at the same time last year. Let me see. Let me go back to January of 24. This chart's really touchy. Bear with me. January 24 is 12.92 loads per truck. And we're at 27.4 this year. And in December on flatbed, it was 9.64. So it was a jump like normal, but nowhere near the jump we're seeing this year for flatbed. So flatbed seems to be fire again right now, anyhow. I'm not completely sure what it is because I don't follow the flatbed market. If any of you guys know, by all means, share that info. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, well, that would be that would have been good news to know. I had this conversation with a Mercer guy the other day while I was doing laundry.
Right.
I mean, he's about ready to hang it up. That's
Yeah.
a whole. I'm actually doing a thing, a blog post about it, but I'm not sure he knows that this is the case. Talking to
Right.
him because
And it could just be their freight market.
Yeah. Well, if you're at Mercer, you have to use their load board, so it's not like you can go out and get your own stuff. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation, and I'll be posting about that in the groups and stuff.
But yeah,
yeah,
so if one load you lost because of a couple of pennies, okay. What about that
next one?
Maybe that's 10 cents more instead of that couple pennies.
Well, and remember when Sean was doing the bulk? What we figured out with him when we were working with him on trying to figure out how to run that business. He was in the beginning, he was getting up at like way early in the morning and I need to get my load for the day.
Yeah, jumping on a load right away.
What we figured out is that he needed to wait until at least 10 in the morning to get the rate that he wanted.
Right.
Because especially in bulk hauling grain and all that stuff, it's got to move.
Yeah.
Clock's a ticking. So as loads don't get filled, they start raising the price throughout the day.
Right.
And there was that magic right around between 11 and 12 was when what Wimpy is talking about started happening.
Right.
Where loads started getting snatched up. Well, then Sean would be left with nothing because he waited too long. There was this magic time frame.
Right. You had to find the sweet spot.
Between, okay, that rate's too low, but by noon it's going to be gone. You got to watch it. And that was an interesting game to watch him play.
It really fell into that some days you're the bug, some days you're the windshield thing. Right?
Yep.
You bobbed when you should have weaved and you lost that load. Okay, let's try again tomorrow because today is shot. Or you just take one at a lesser rate and move on, right? And learn from the experience. But other days you hit it right and you're like, there we go, cha-ching. The light start going.
I was watching some of the rates out of Florida this week because it was a thing on NOAA.
Right.
And they're back down into the 80s again coming out of Jacksonville.
Yeah. Now keep in mind that's interstate freight.
Right. Well, and what I thought was interesting, and I didn't participate in the discussion because why bother over there? But it was obviously someone that hasn't been in the industry very long because the entire 20 years I've been doing this, Charlie.
Right.
Jacksonville, down into the Panhandle, you get paid really good to go there.
Right.
Coming out, not so much.
Exactly.
I mean, to the point that Rutherford used to recommend, take that good rate going into the Panhandle, and then just pray that you can get a load up to Atlanta.
Right.
That'll pay for fuel. So you don't have to deadhead up there. But his point was always this, and I agree with him on this. Don't just get pissed off and deadhead out of an area because it's at 88 cents.
Right. That's a complete loss.
Try to at least recoup your fuel to get into a better market. Here at Panther, we have actual deadhead moves, and it pays crap. It's like 55 cents a mile.
Right.
To move to a different market. But you know what it does? It pays for my fuel. And then I get to that other market and I get a legitimate expedited load that's paying me $2 a mile.
Right.
So I'll eat it just for the fuel cost, 300-400 miles sometimes. But the thing is that Panther also, they don't want to pay that out because they're not making any money on that move. Right?
Yep.
So there's a little bit of, where can I go? Okay, are you willing to pay me to go there? That low rate? Yes, we are, because we want our trailer loaded. Okay, let's do that. So it's an interesting, when we talk to people that want to become owner operators, lease operators, get their own numbers, whatever, we always ask them why. Because what we're talking about right here, Charlie, is not easy to get in the habit of doing.
Right.
To be thinking about all of these things instead of just, oh, Swift sent me a load. Oh, Werner sent me a load that I'm gonna go get and call it a day. No, there's a lot of things that you have to pay attention to if you're going to be a business owner, and you got to make decisions and you got to own them. That's the main thing. You got to own those decisions.
Your decisions and the outcome of those decisions are yours and yours alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they ripped you off. I mean, if you feel like that at the end of it, you made a bad choice.
Well, you know what? That psychological thing when you go to counseling, people will treat you the way you allow them to treat you.
Absolutely.
Now, that doesn't mean that they're not wrong in treating you that way, but you allowed it to happen.
Right.
And this is the same thing. You're taking, there's guys out there that'll take 80 cent a mile freight out of Dallas. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And then they'll get on the Facebooks and complain about it. No, you do that to yourself, because I know there's $2 freight coming out of freaking.
And those guys are fear-based. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're already in trouble before that happens.
It's whatever president's president. It's, because it's because Disney did something woke or something.
Right.
I mean, it's whatever. But exactly, Dennis. It says it's called owning your mistakes or decisions you make, and that's really, one of the things that we teach and we kind of bang the drum on a little bit is that there's nothing new in success and personal development, probably for at least the last 4,000 years. It's always the concepts have been there. There's no secret to success. Dennis just nailed it. If you own your mistakes, learn from your mistakes, I'm going to add that, you're going to be successful no matter what you do.
Right.
That's the long and short of it. Obviously we have daily practices that I do with the journaling and things like that help focus the mind and things like that. But again, not new.
Right.
People have been talking about this forever. Oh, my battery level is below 50%, Charlie.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Better plug
Chris,
in.
And learn from others' mistakes. Look, Jeff and I share all the whoppers and all the little ones we've made.
Oh, yeah.
You've got our 40 combined years of, man, we made some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
We can absolutely tell you there are things that we know that if you do this thing, if you do X, Y is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be tragic and you will be mad that it happened.
Yep.
And there's other things where you can say, oh, well, I did X, and we can tell you, oh, Y is going to happen and it will be a good thing.
Yep.
Right. And it always amazes us because we will do that very thing. Someone will ask us something very specific. And exactly what we said happens, good or bad, or especially to the bad side. And then they're upset with us. And we're like, we told you that exact thing would happen.
Yep.
I mean, there was no gray. We were like, yep, that's the thing. Don't know what to tell you. I hope you learn from it. And maybe next time you might take some advice. Right. But you sometimes people just need to make those mistakes, right?
Yes.
It's a little frustrating for us, but hey, if that's how you're learning, okay. Yeah, I got to get Rosie to come clean my glasses. I can't see Jack. I really, dude, I am so off. I didn't pee before the show. Didn't clean my glasses.
TMI.
I know, but look, I've been sitting here going like this, trying to, and they're new glasses, so I'm trying to learn the focus ranges because the prescription transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it went up this
I
year.
actually see on the little screen that I work on when I'm out on the road, I actually see it better with my glasses off.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm gonna call her, see if she'll answer because she's not seeing my text. This will be fun. She's probably ignoring. She's probably not even near her phone. That's the story of my life. But that's cool. I may have to run for just a second. So is Jeff referring to the idea that he's a robot and needs to recharge before he
You
crashes?
can't prove. You can prove nothing.
I can prove some things for the right dollar amount. Yeah, she's not answering her phone. That's great. Sucks for me.
Don't you have a little cloth next to your table?
No, I did, but you know what? It's dirty from my old glasses.
Oh,
Apparently, I need to clean those things every now and then.
yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Whatever. I'm like,
That's
cleaner.
in addition to shopping for fuel. That is part of my pre-trip in the morning.
Charlie, sir, clean your glasses. I'm texting her to not answer. You better stop it, woman. You know what?
That's fantastic.
Watch this. Ida is now going to be in timeout because I remember how to do this, and I'm on that screen. So Ida, timeout. 10 seconds. You'll be able to speak with us again in 10 seconds. Just saying.
It's delayed by how long though? Like 20 seconds?
Who knows? Oh my gosh. I'll be right back, Jeff.
Yeah, okay. I gotta talk for 5 minutes.
I can't see, dude. It's all blur. It's just as bad.
And he's off. Oh, that's entertainment right there. Yeah, I don't know if Rosie. I know that Rosie spends a lot of time with the grandkids when she's home. That's her thing. Well, let's go through some comments here. I don't know if I missed anything though. That's the thing. So what questions you guys have? Let's do that for a second. One of the things Charlie was delving into, I didn't actually look at the data as closely as he did, but he made a good point. And I think that it's an indicator that we're starting on the slow ascent. Over the past couple of years, the analytics for freight rates and load to truck rate has been way up, way down, way up, way down like this. And that's not a healthy market. What we're seeing right now is this kind of slow uptick. It was down a little bit today, but just barely from last week. So if we see it, what we want to see in a healthy market is a nice slow curve up. We don't want to see this.
Right.
As excited as people, as much as people get excited about those huge gains, they're not sustainable. So what we need to do, what we need to see is a nice steady couple pennies here, couple pennies there. Again, pennies turn into dollars real quick, guys. So that's what we're excited about. Is this nice? It's still kind of flat, but that's an indicator that it's either going to go up or it's going to go down, right? If you pay attention to statistics at all.
Say the word again.
No. Statistics. There.
Statistics. That was fun. Yeah. Oh, now Rosie's picking on you.
Okay.
She's like, I can say it, and I'm Mexican.
Yeah,
can you close that door for me? Thank you.
Yeah, but she has less of an accent than I do.
I know, right?
It's bizarre.
Statistics, she said.
Hey, you know, I was watching Kitchen Nightmares earlier
Yeah.
while I was feeling sorry for myself. Um, and it was Gordon's first visit to a Mexican restaurant to try and help a Mexican restaurant out.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
how'd that
very
go?
interesting. You know, it was an interesting. I actually watched the show not just because I like Gordon's cooking, but I like to see how he analyzes the business of the restaurant.
Right.
I have no desire whatsoever to be in the restaurant business. People that want it, they can have it. But business is business, right? And you know, he's looking at do these restaurants have a good process in place for this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
And you know, process is something we're going to be talking about a little more in our monthly Zoom calls starting in March.
Right.
And you know, even as a single truck operator, you should be thinking about what are my processes. You know, what do I do when I start my shift? What do I do when I get to the shipper? What do I do when I contact my carrier? All of that is processes, and it should be automatic. You get to the point to where everything you're doing is kind of on autopilot, and it comes down to I think I talked about this a little bit when I read this book for the first time a little while back. Every decision you make costs you calories. And so if you can build habits, habits are putting things on autopilot.
Right.
So your brain isn't taking calories to make that decision anymore. It's just a habit. This is what you do. So you're saving the calories for the heavy lifting, like when you've got to do quick math before you call that broker, right? Before you accept that load. Save your calories for stuff like that. Because there's nothing worse, Charlie, than you're looking at a load, right? And your brain isn't braining and you've got to do math. That kind of stinks.
Right. So, Trucker Tim, that's funny. A chip that's been in my windshield for months suddenly expanded with a crack going in both directions, horizontally, nearly a foot to the left, 6 inches to the right. I can feel you here, man. So when I got this 23, right, it was like within the first couple of weeks that I had that truck, I got a rock chip, right?
Yeah.
Smaller than a quarter, a little starburst.
Mm-hmm.
So I just left it. I'm like, I'm gonna wait. You know what I mean? And whatever. And I went until mid 24, I think it was. And so I had that chip forever. Went to mid 24, and it finally on me one day. And I was like, dang it. All right, got to go get it fixed. Got that one fixed. And in less than 2 months, got another one. And had to get that one fixed right away because that was gnarly. But then now I'm not going to say it, but that was the last one for then. I seem to go through these cycles though. I go through no windshields for years. And then I have 2 or 3 in a couple of months. It's crazy.
I'm just kind of surprised you didn't crack a windshield during the Canadian invasion the last couple of weeks.
Right? Well, there's no chips in it, so we're good. Right now, I'm good. Just saying. Because Lord knows we had that heater cranking on that thing. I run the defrost, the vent, and the floor at high during that stuff because yeah, it's cold.
Yeah. Well, you know, driving up north like I do, there's a lot of sanding of roads and things like
Right.
that. And you know, another big truck passes you and you hear that across the windshield.
Yeah.
And my eyes start darting, looking,
Yep.
seeing if I got a chip.
Like when you get that one big smack, you're like, oh God.
Well, what's weird is I'll hear the big smack and nothing.
Get right.
Little bitty tinkle, chip.
Oh geez, he said he's got 3 chips now, a long crack left to right. Glad I have glass covered to see bright. Exactly.
Yeah, so Wimpy's got a good one here. Windshield repair kit is $12 at Walmart. The adhesive keeps the chip from getting bigger. And Donna actually did this with our minivan.
Yep.
She had a rock chip, and she got it off of Amazon, but whatever, same thing. And real quick repair, did it herself.
Not always effective.
Not always, but
The
it's worth
second
it.
one that I had that I was talking about, I tried that and it spread right through it like within a week. I was like, dang it. Yeah, it sucked. But most of the time it works because I've used it in the past. I mean, I had one in Chewy that was right at a quarter and I sealed it, did the whole suction cup thingy, you know what I mean? And I never replaced that one. It's probably still there to this day. I don't think I ever replaced that thing.
Yeah.
But those are cool.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
I remember when I lived in Oregon at the mall in Longview, Washington, all winter long, there was always this glass repair guy there, and he would do free chip repairs for you. Of course, what he's betting is you take his card, he gave you a free chip repair, and when you need a windshield, you come back.
Right.
You know, but I haven't seen anybody doing free chip repairs for a while now.
You know, so Tim brought up Seabright, so I'm thinking that's a good transition point for me. I wanted to bring up, so and this isn't just a Seabright thing, okay? If you're in some sort of contract where you actually have the ability to rent another truck to replace the one that you're currently paying for, so let's say you put your truck in the shop for a major repair or what have you. Speaking from an insurance standpoint, just so you know, when that business accepts that vehicle is now insured by that company.
Yes.
Okay. They have accepted responsibility for that vehicle. Therefore, when you go get your rental, what should happen is you get a hold of your insurance company and say, hey, my truck's in the shop for X amount of days or till I don't know when. And I'm in this rental. Here are the numbers on this truck, you know, the values and all that stuff. You know, you'll have a contract for it. And they will move, hopefully, I know Seabright will, but they will move your coverage to cover your rental vehicle. Okay.
Yes.
And this is important because we had multiples of these recently in the last couple months where people put their truck in the shop for, you know, whatever, a couple days or extended period, and actually got into accidents. Some were minor, some were totals. Only to find out they never let, you know, our people know at Seabright. That truck is not insured. And this is not just your responsibility, mind you. I'm gonna throw it out there. You know, with these guys that I'm talking about, they were IEL lease contractors.
Swift.
And they allowed them to leave with a vehicle with no proof of insurance. In my silly brain, I'm thinking they should share the cost. Whatever. That's not a popular stance for them, I'm sure. But they allowed that to happen. But if you haven't notified your insurance company, I mean, what are you even thinking? It doesn't just cover you in another vehicle. These insurance policies are very specific, huh? Statistically specific.
We're having all sorts of fun with words today.
Right? But to that very vehicle that you insured, and if you don't let them know that there's a change in that vehicle, you are not insured. You know, maybe if you're on an IEL or your corporate insurance and they know about it and you're renting it from them, I guess that, you know, that's typically automatic for those guys. Like, you know, at our my contractor or my carrier rather, Swift, if you're on their insurance with, you know, a truck lease to them and you swap into a Swift, look, it's getting worse. It's contagious. If you swap into a rental truck, they automatically cover you and that's fine. But that's not the case with any outside insurance.
Right.
You need to let them know. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that's exactly right, Tim. Yeah, because the shop should cover your truck for any issues while it's in their possession. And it is in their care, control, and possession.
Right.
So those are important things. And so good thing is you know, by making that swap, you're not losing anything by paying for that. I mean, I think there's still a point of clarification that I need to find out just so I can speak a little bit more detailed on it. Let's say you're in a truck with a much lower value that you're currently insuring and you get into a truck with a much higher value. I don't know if that's going to be a small rate adjustment or not, or if it just goes straight over. I don't know. I will do my best to find out that answer soon, and we'll put an update or something like that out.
Yeah.
Sandy, if you're listening, if you have an answer to that question, that would be awesome. Because I know Sandy watches the show from time to time. She's not crazy like us 24/7, but But yeah, if you're out there, Sandy, if they have a lower value truck and they put it in the shop and they rent a higher value truck, does the rate change for that short time that they're in that rental? That would be the question. I don't know if you know or not. Maybe we have to ask someone else even, but we'll see. Yeah, Ida. I remember. I well remember my West Coast days praying for the survival of my windshield. Absolutely.
Yep.
God knows.
Yeah, you get out there by Bend and they use that pumice rock
Right.
out there. Yeah, that's
stuff's brutal, man.
Yeah, you have to chain up in that stuff. I'm just gonna put this out there. Put something rubber under you because that will cut the heck out of your jeans.
Right.
That stuff.
It's pokey, man. It's got 12,000 sharp edges everywhere. Oh, yep. Lisa back on the nail chip stuff said clear nail polish works too.
Yeah.
Hey, in a pinch, I'll try darn near anything, right? But yeah, so on the insurance front, I'll see if I get an answer from Sandy, or I'll reach out to them later tonight or tomorrow. I'll try to do it soon. How's that? That's what I'm going to guarantee. Yeah. Soon.
Sometime this year.
Right. God, I apologize.
Probably about the same time.
Stop it. Stop.
Don't get the airbag video up.
You made me run into my fuzzy dice back there. You can't even see me. Oh God, I just almost knocked him off the wall.
Been a minute since I could use that.
Dude, I knew I saw your face and knew exactly where you were going. You're a bad man, but you're a funny man. So I'm gonna. That was fair. Gosh, dang it, man. Notice, I don't know if you guys noticed that right now. I used some words that were a little salty just now, and I said, "Gosh, dang it." Mm-hmm. Not quite as salty as this guy earlier. Just saying, because Jeff was a little offensive. So we're just gonna throw that back, and I don't know. We'll talk about that for a minute, and we'll go back to the purple dinosaur because it's fun. And Jeff, I love you, sir. You're welcome. So yeah, good times. I'm gonna hold that in my pocket for the rest of this show, just in case I need it.
You're probably gonna hold that in your pocket as long as I have the airbag video.
I'm gonna have to pull screenshots and sound bites with the big bleep in the middle of it.
Oh, it'll be around the time that you return Craig Hutchinson's call, Charlie.
Sir, I thought we were friends. Thought we were friends, but you're right, Craig. I am really bad sometimes about calling back. I get into a groove and I'm doing something. I'm like, hey, I'll call you back. Because that's I hit the default. I'll call you back, right? Mm-hmm. And 19 things happen, and you guys have seen it firsthand. Squirrels get me, and they get me like that. And there's only so much room in this little midget head of mine that I guess the head's not so small. It's what's inside. Whatever. I try.
I'm just so this and
hey. Yeah. Oh, look at there. But we expect that out of you, Charlie, not from Jeff. Just saying, it's fair. Whatever. But yeah, so insurance stuff.
Hey, there's two things that make you lose your inhibitions. Alcohol, and I don't drink, so that's not a thing. And fatigue, and I am freaking tired.
Oh, I heard the F winding up, and I thought, I noticed I did not reach for that button. I was gonna let you do it because I'm a bad man. I intentionally pulled. I heard the right, and I pulled my hand away from my trackball. What do you want from me? I'm honest.
You haven't done that road yet, Tim? I like that road. US 95 from Vegas to Reno.
Yeah.
I like that drive.
Not in the winter, I don't.
Yeah, it's mostly good.
Springtime is wonderful.
If you get there during a storm, not great. But the storms in that area aren't like other places over there. So,
Jeff, what state are you in currently? They had bets going on. They were trying to figure out where you were at, other than a state of confusion.
North Carolina.
North Kakalaki, yo.
Yeah, about 100 miles northwest of northwest of Charlotte.
Count the houses of your repute, right? I don't like US 95 too. Matt says he prefers US 93. Lisa said, "Dang it, I had Texas."
I was there for over a week though.
You know, Lisa, if you were to friend Jeff on the Facebooks, he does kind of a daily video there, and he talks about things that sometimes you find out exactly where he's at on a daily basis. I actually put a link to that up earlier today. I wonder if I still got that link in my chat. Look, I do. Nope, I don't. That's wrong. That's to tonight's show.
You fibber?
Yeah, I thought I had
built anticipation.
Wait, I got it though. I can do it. I'm magic, bro. Don't. Because top of my friend list is there's Jeff. I can scroll down here and find that video that he put out yesterday. It was yesterday's video is what I saw. There it is.
Yeah, I didn't do one today. I was out of it today.
I can hit the magical share button, copy the link, and I can put it right here in the chat just like that. And that'll take you directly to his video that he did yesterday.
Yeah.
And you might have known much closer where he was. Just saying, that information could be in there.
I'm in Reedsville right now at the Loves. So what was weird, Charlie? So, parking is an issue, but especially on the coastal areas, both East and West Coast. And boy, on Sunday, I was just trying to get north of Charlotte because I didn't want to have to drive the morning through there. And boy, there was just no parking at like 3:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. It was the most bizarre thing.
It's funny. I had my phone turned down, and when I put Ida in timeout, she texted my phone. I can still text you. That's funny. My bad. Oh man, that's good stuff. Oh, I don't know how to act sometimes. Sometimes I remember I had the little hammer powers, and I'm like, It's just fun. So when I go over to Narc's channel, there's a funny thing that happens over on all of his channels. Like the first time people log in there with names that have never been there, because he gives hammers to everybody that shows up, but they all race and fight over who's going to time out the gray names. Like if you're looking on the YouTube, you may or may not. Oh, you'll see it in our platform, Jeff. They're white names.
White
people with hammers have blue names, right?
Okay.
On YouTube, it's a blue name and a gray name, and the gray names don't have the mod status. And these guys fight over timing them out, and they'll be timed out for hours at times because there's so many people hitting timeout all at the same time, and they max it out. And there's like a whole maximum time limit. Let me wait. I'm not gonna do it. Oh yeah, 24 hours, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, or 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
And they'll hammer them, and it's fun to watch. It's hilarious. It's my good Lord. Ida says she bets you're sitting at the same truck stop as her brother right now.
Oh, maybe. So, Mike, I'm going to use this for a reason, Charlie.
You're right.
Mike had a student call his wife and tell her there was a cat house behind a truck stop on US 93. He had to take him home 3 days later. Dumbest student ever. So there is a certain amount of trust.
Right.
that needs to exist in a relationship if you're gonna do this job. Hands down. You know, that to me, yeah, dumbest student ever. Yeah, I mean, I've complained to Donna about that sort of stuff when I come across it, and she's like, "Yeah, the world,
Right.
um, going to heck in a handbasket, all that stuff, that us religious people think."
Nice
But
clean.
there's a trust. But there's a trust there, right? And that has to exist if you're going to be gone as much as we are. And that
Right.
goes both ways. I actually had a student tell me once, "Well, just wait till your old lady cheats on you. It's going to happen. You're gone too much."
Right.
And I just laughed at the dude. And he's like, "Oh, you think so, but it's going to happen." I don't know. I've been out here 20 years and it hasn't happened. I, you have to. I think in order to be a business owner in this industry, because we do, it does take more time than just a regular company driver. There's very few opportunities for owners to be home every night. Man, you got to have that relationship at home at a certain point before you come out here being on the road, because the when you're gone, the bad thoughts happen on both sides, and you wonder what the other one's doing. If you don't have that trust, man, I don't know.
I look, I'm stupid. I'm one of those stupid people, but I have faith, trust. I believe Rosie has faith and trust. Every
Yeah.
time some weird thing happens like that, I tell her about it. And she's like, "Why does it always happen when I'm sleeping?" I'm like, "Because they typically don't want to approach when there's a woman there because they don't want to fight."
Yeah.
Although I want to say that either Rosie was awake or I responded with something like, "No, my wife in the back, or my wife doesn't approve of such things," right? And she's like, "Well, maybe your wife needs company."
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong. I'm not promoting anything. I'm just saying it was funny. And the last one that approached me was in Montgomery, Alabama, while I'm sitting at a red light trying to cross the stupid road. And she asked me, "Hey, can I get a ride?" I'm like, "No, sorry, my contract, I can't put you in the truck, can't assure you." And my wife wouldn't approve. And then she propositioned me. And I said, "No, thank you. Thank you very much." She said, "Is it cool if I cross in front of you?" I'm like, "Sure, absolutely." I gave her some room to cross. She was kind of crossing mid-street. And then she thanked me for allowing her to cross and went on her way. I'm like, "Okay, have a nice day." It was very odd. Told Rosie about it shortly after. She's like, "It always happens when I'm sleeping."
Yep.
I don't know. It's sad. I shouldn't be joking about it for whatever.
Yeah, Mike, I've been married for, it'll be 31 years coming up here, and I get where people like Wimpy come from, and I'm not going to indulge him by putting it up, but I get why people have a negative view on marriage. Maybe they had a bad experience. I don't know. 31 years, it hasn't all been roses, but we love each other. So, I mean, what else do you want?
Right. Look,
Some
Rosie and I
of
have been
us,
together since we were 15.
some of us really do have good marriages.
I can't even do the math right now. We've been
Well,
married 33. How's
I
that?
met Donna. I met Donna when I was 15. So,
Yeah, Rosie and I started dating April 7th of 1985. You like that? It's one of those
yeah,
dates I won't forget.
I don't know that.
Bail, Jeff, bail,
But
sir.
I'm pretty sure
And
Donna
for
doesn't
that,
either. So,
you better hope she does.
the reverse timeout.
Right? That's pretty good, Mike. I met Rosie in 7th grade, and I was terrible, horrible. Would have gone to jail for the things I did to her back then today.
Well, so I'll put this one up because I have a comment about this. Wimpy says, "I'm too old to take shit from a woman." That's a quote, so I'm not in trouble.
Yep, you're safe.
So, Wimpy, I'm just going to say what we've seen from you since you started watching the show and commenting, that explains a lot. There, I said it.
No, he said the relationships he has are toxic.
Well,
I don't know why, Wimpy.
takes two to tango on that one, but
Look, he says I like toxic relationships. Oh
takes
man.
all kind. What do they say? It takes all kinds to make the world go round.
Right? And the world is round. Fight me. Just gonna throw that out there and just leave the podcast.
Finish him.
Yeah. over here.
I saw a thing on YouTube that I just laughed about, and it was the voice actor that did the original
Mortal
um,
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, and then the guy that did Winnie the Pooh.
Nice.
And I think Winnie the Pooh saying "finish him" and Winnie the Pooh's voice was much more scary.
Right. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Bro, I think I'd bounce.
Yeah.
But no, you won. I'm out.
There is that. You know, I like my horror movies, and there's one out there, not for kids at all. Don't let your kids watch this, but Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Right.
It is hilarious.
So you want to sit down. Finally, my neck is not being cooperative at the moment.
Your fancy desk there that lets you sit down.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. Very softly, though. It's very quiet.
Wow.
Hey, look. Speaking of narc, there's his sunshine face. There's some people that drives nuts. Why you put him up there? I might look, man. We're friends. I don't know what to tell you. I know multiple versions of narc. Let's be real. We have real good conversations from time to time. Honest to God, like we talk business, we talk trucking, we talk life. It's cool. I dig it.
I appreciate Mike the mechanic.
Right. I dig it all. I whatever, man. It's his thing, right? It's his genre, his niche. It's a popular niche. Let's be real. You watch the things that happen over there, and you're just like, oh man. And the people that he goes after, they amuse me, and this is why. If all they did was just shut up,
you leave them alone.
Probably go away. You know, don't lie, don't try and scam people, and shut up.
Yeah, I was involved on Facebook with this dude. It was some scammy post, and this dude was more rude than normal on calling it out on a comment. And so I said, well, congratulations, you just gave this guy a bump in the algorithms. 3 days of going back and forth with this guy.
Right.
He just couldn't shut up. I'm like, well, there's one more, you know. We're really helping this guy out. You realize that, right? You know?
Yeah.
Finally, I got bored and stopped responding, but
oh my gosh. Sorry, catching up on chat. There was some that I missed there. I'm just not even gonna go back. Uh-oh. My trackball battery's dying. Oh, I'm technical fun.
You are a mess.
Wait, if I turn it off and turn it back on, it'll give it new life. Let's do that. There we go. All right, we're working again. I'm fantastic. I can click buttons like this one.
Of course.
And
I feel the same about trackballs as you do about mice. So
that's fair. I don't have a wrist. Like it, I can't. You know, you can do these things. I cannot. Look. It shows you I'm trying. Look at how tight that tendon is. It don't bend. There's a steel plate goes from here. There's 3 screws. There's another screw right here in this dent that I can't even turn it the right way. Look. There's a dent here and right in there somewhere there's a screw, and there's 3 more down here, and it's all kinds of fun. And trying to use a mouse and be intricate like gaming or anything really doesn't work, man. That thing just starts.
So with a steel plate right there in your wrist, chaining must be just a joy for you.
What's that?
Chaining up a truck must be a joy.
Oh, yeah, it was good times, man. I learned to use other tools. Opposable thumbs still work.
That's good.
Right? Oh, my God. But yeah, that hand is just a train wreck. Like, that's as straight as my pinky goes. I mean, my knuckles are getting that old man arthritis. And, okay, so here's the funny thing. So this is my old man hand. I don't know if it's coming through well, but they're actually different colors. It's crazy.
So your
of the
knuckles
sensation
at
in
this point, Charlie, are almost big enough to go into proctology.
Hey, like my first experience,
You could be the MEPS. You could be the
monster
MEPS.
knuckles,
You could be the MEPS doctor with those.
right? Oh my gosh.
People who have been in the service understand exactly what we're talking about.
Mhm. I got to see the plate in my neck this morning. That was cool. I like seeing that. It's weird.
Hmm.
They won't let me take a camera in there and take pictures though. I would really like to actually take a quick little video of what it is they do. Because neat. They put you on this table and you're face down on this little cradle with your face, right? And kind of a hump that arches your back just right for whatever it is they're doing. And they had this crazy little x-ray machine. They shoot a quick picture. They're like, okay, you're lined up good. Then they come in with a needle and they kind of point at it and they take a quick picture and they're like, all right, that looks good. And they jab you. They numb it first and they jab you right up in through the vertebrae towards the nerve bundle and all that stuff. And you take another picture just to make sure it's in the right spot, needle point, on it. And you take another, and all this is displaying, but everyone else in the room can see it except me.
They don't take a video.
And I'm the one that's so fascinated by it. No, I get to see like the final picture, which is the final position of the needle. And I'm like, that's cool. But my plate's in there. It holds 3 vertebrae together. It's kind of neat. But yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, I had to do the contrast CT or contrast MRI a few weeks ago.
That's good stuff there.
That was weird.
Did it do weird things to your heart?
No.
Oh, I had one time, and it
made my entire body flush though.
Oh yeah.
Like instantly flush.
Yeah.
I felt like I was the space heater in my room. And it made me feel like I was peeing my pants, even though I wasn't. It's the weirdest. No. It was the weirdest thing, though, man.
Right? Yeah. Doctor stuff is awesome.
Well, they take you back there, too, and you see the signs, all the radioactive signs for the radioactive medicine rooms.
Right.
Like, whoa, what are we doing here?
They're like, don't worry, bro. It's not going to harm us at all. We'll be fine. I'm like, wait. What did you just say?
In the room behind the leaded glass.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good times, man.
Nuclear medicine.
I'm absolutely fascinated by this stuff. I had one way back in the 90s that you literally went to. The facility was nuclear medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy contract and they crazy stuff back in the 90s still. It's not near as sketchy as back then nowadays. And they're like, yeah, here's the side effects. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good time. But it was Army medicine, so I was pretty much at the mercy of just do whatever. But, all the x-rays and MRIs they had done before that, they couldn't see the fractures in my shin. Right? When they lit me up with the radiation, they were everywhere.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was great. So I got, and that was a couple days before I graduated MP school and basic training all in one deal. It was 4.5 months of wonderfulness. And so 3 days before graduation, I had to wait for a full another cycle and do nothing and get fat because I kept eating Army basic training food for the next 4.5 months and no exercise at all because I couldn't put any weight on the leg, right? No stress.
Yeah, the other thing that I thought was interesting about my hospital visit, which, by the way, I am a dude, so it took all day for Donna to get me to agree to go to the hospital to begin with. But so they wanted to do a chest X-ray, and I'm like, okay, well, let's go do that. No, they wheeled the X-ray machine into the room. It was on a little cart.
Right.
So because I'm a guy, I don't go to the hospital every 2 days. So I saw all this technology that I've never seen before, and I was just fascinated by it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, they told me that we need to do an contrast MRI, and I'm expecting the big machine like we remember seeing on TV back in the 90s.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's a little donut.
Yeah.
The new machines are much smaller. They're quieter. Yeah, it was bizarre, man. It was kind of cool. No, my next DOT physical is in April, I believe, Tim. I'm actually going to head to the house here in about 6 weeks to do another A1C and see where I'm sitting on that.
I like
and replenish my meds.
So before I broke my back, I used to go to the chiropractor every 6 months since I was 16. I would get an inch to an inch and a half of compression in my spine because I grew 6 inches in 6 months at one point. And it was a little much for all that, right? But I would get this weird compression because I was constantly a super active person back in the day, right? I mean, I ran, I skateboarded, I biked, I jumped off roofs because why not? All that kind of stuff. So I got this inch to inch and a half. At worst, I think I had a 2-inch compression at one point. And I would go to the chiropractor, which was my family doctor, which was awesome. And he put me on the rack. Those who know, best machine in the world, because that thing stretches you out from toes to tip of your head. And it's the craziest sounds. Like, because when we said, I like the chiropractor cracks your neck and back joints, all those funny noises. And it would be, and I'd get out of there. I'd stand up a little lightheaded, and being an inch and a half taller, I was like, whoo, this is great. Nothing hurt. I was like, oh, I miss it. After I broke my back, they told me never go to a chiropractor again because of the nature of the way that my spinal break was. It's stable, but don't pull on it.
The first time I went to a chiropractor was in Arizona. I'd had a bike accident that threw me out. And L2, I think is what it was. He had to adjust. And he put me on the machine. And after I got in the position, so that tells you a little bit about this freaking machine.
Right.
He says, okay, so we call this the Jesus machine because people claim they see Jesus right as I pop their back. And I'm like, well, it can't be that bad. It was that bad. It was some of the things chiropractors do, you have that instant of pain, like, ow, and then all your muscles relax and you're okay. But getting the adjustment, man, that hurt.
Right.
So the Jesus machine. It was one of those where you had to kneel down and it only supported a certain amount of your upper body and you were hanging off of it so he could do the adjustment. Yeah.
Right. Jim said he uses a Stello CGM over the counter for $99 a month. Helps a lot to know how your blood glucose is responding.
Yeah, I was thinking about looking into that. I want to see though if my insurance will cover one of them so I don't have to pay. Because $99, that's actually pretty good.
Right.
Because a lot of them are like $67 per puck, and the puck lasts 15 days, so you got 2 of those a month.
Right.
And if I could get insurance to pay for it, that would be even better. But depending on how our coverage is, what I'm finding out is unless you're actually on insulin, a lot of insurances won't cover it. So that might be something I look for. Do you get that at Walmart, Jim? Is that where you get that? Because that's one of the things is I'll forget to prick my finger for days. And I'm like, oh, I should probably check my blood sugar.
Right.
It's like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that thing, obviously. And so, Charlie, just so you know, the testing the blood sugar helps up here more
Absolutely.
than anything, because when I do it the 3, 4, 5 times a day like I'm supposed to,
right,
I worry about what my result's going to be. I'm like, yeah, I should not have that hamburger. I should have my keto stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to prick my finger in 2 hours and I don't want it to be above 140.
Right. So when I went keto years ago, right, I was starting to get a little high in the blood sugar range. I mean, my A1C was getting to the borderline, the bottom of the borderline, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's never peaked over the threshold to where they're like, hey, man, right? They're like, hey, you're a little close, but you're not to the threshold yet. I started doing blood sugar, after every meal and, a couple times a day at set times, that kind of thing when you first get up, blah, 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 right? And it absolutely helped me. And then I got out of that habit because I just got tired of paying for test strips, right? Because I was doing the finger stick and the little reader and all that. And I was like, ugh, such a pain, right? Because I'm lazy. And, but I did notice that, eventually I started doing it like, maybe once a day, right? And maybe once a week, and I'd check it a month later, and there was a difference. It wasn't to the point that I need to worry, but it was definitely a difference. And now I just don't even check it at all. I wait once a year or whenever they do labs on me, and I check it there.
Yeah,
because why not?
Well, I mean, if you're not really diabetic,
right,
there's no reason to go through all that. One of the things with the finger stick, though, because like for me, I'm supposed to do it after every meal, when I wake up and when I go to bed. So that's 5 times a day. You start getting calluses on your fingertips,
right?
And it makes it harder to get blood out. And Michael, the Libra 3 is what I would like to use, but again, I want to see if the insurance will cover that, because that one is what, like $67 per puck. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, CGM is a continuous glucose monitor, and you put a little thing on your arm, and it tests your blood sugar like every minute.
Nice.
And if you want to check it that much, which I don't know why you would, but at any time, like my mom's got one, and she opens an app on her phone, and it'll ping the puck and tell her what her blood sugar is. So
that's a funny statement. Ping the puck. I want to use that
puck
for something else. I don't know why, or how. Yeah, Wade said that's the one he uses. Michael says the VA covers his. That's awesome. I can see
that's
that.
amazing.
Right. Dennis, still have to schedule my appointments for the VA. Dude, stop screwing around.
Yeah.
Just stop. Good Lord. Man. Oh, Wade's got the VA covering his too, so that's even better. Look, man, part of the stuff that the VA does is fan freaking tastic. I'm gonna tell you that. And other parts are crazy and way too difficult to get done. Dennis, start that process. If you haven't, you need to stop screwing around.
Yeah, the VA, man, it's just, man, I don't even know what it depends on. Your primary care physician or something. I saw a cartoon that was making fun of the VA that I thought was kind of funny, and that they were given the most disabled man award out, which isn't a thing, by the way. But dude struts up there, grabs his award, and then it pans over to this dude in a wheelchair, missing both legs and arm, and wearing the safety helmet because of his traumatic brain injury. He's like,
right,
this is BS, man.
That's funny.
But that's the VA to a T right there.
Yep. Dennis, so every year when I go in for mine, they automatically schedule me a year out. So I just make sure I go home for that day. Well, it's actually, it's 2 weeks. So the week prior to my appointment, I have to go in and do labs. And the following week, and I just tell them, look, I set it up for, it's either going to be a Tuesday or Wednesday. So they work with me on that. And sometimes it's a Thursday, and I can work with that too, because it's usually in the morning. And they just schedule me a year out. So a new thing has happened over the last couple of years, though, is now I have vision coverage, right? So they do my eye exam and new glasses every year. My lab appointment always, and I mean always, falls on the same day that I'm supposed to do my lab work. They are 50 miles apart, almost within, like 20 minutes of each other, if not the same time. I'm like, you people can see this. I say yes because I don't know. You can see what appointments I have. Why are you doing this to me? But I just end up doing it at the facility where I do the labs over there at the facility I get my eye done. And this year, what I did was I called my primary care location, said, hey, I have an appointment tomorrow for my eyes and labs here. Can I just do it today? And they're like, come on in, we'll get you. And I got it done. So that was cool. It took me took me longer to drive there than to actually get it done. I mean, I literally walked in, sat down, checked in, sat down, took me back, and I was in and out in less than 5 or 10 minutes. It was great.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm just saying. And dude, scheduling physicals can be a pain, bro, because they're like, oh, it's not super priority, and they can put weird time constraints on that. So don't screw around, because there's a thing in the VA system where if you haven't had a physical in a year, or I don't know where the magic cutoff is, it's just over a year somewhere, they drop you from the system.
Really?
Now, it doesn't kill any claims you had before that, but they drop you out of the primary care system, and then you got to go reestablish on a new primary care, dude, and you go through, and it's just a pain in the butt.
So it's like starting all over again.
Just on the primary care guy, yeah. But it's ridiculous. I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, Michael said lots of improvements at the VA over in the past years. So we had a really good increase in care with President 45. We had a significant drop with President 46 in the types of care and the way that we went about getting care. It was administration things. Look, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying that there was a visible thing. We had a quality of standard for Obama, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the VA system. And then we had a steep incline in the quality of care we got under Trump on his first term. There was a drop with Biden, whatever. Politics aside, there was a drop in the quality and type of care and the length of time it took to get care under Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really hoping, because they had some really good programs that they actually did away with under Trump and did away under Biden, that I hope they bring back, because it really shortened the amount of time it took to get new appointments or referrals or care that you needed right away, versus, having to show up at the ER for the VA system or whatever. And that's just a nightmare there. I mean, look, that became what I did for 4 years. If I had a problem, I ended up having to drive to Tampa to the ER, to the VA ER, to get seen for something because I couldn't get an appointment.
Right.
Whereas under the Trump system, they let us go to all these outside sources, and it was a lot better. I mean, it still had its problems. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I was asking you about that when what change was made, how easy it was to go outside with the new program.
It was great under the other administration. It was not as great under this past administration. I'm hoping that it goes back the other way, because I think that's important, and not just because I'm a veteran, but because I actually give two damns about veterans, and I think that they've earned it. I think there are far more that have earned way more than me. I struggle with that. I mean, people that know me, you guys know that I actually have struggles with claiming certain benefits that are afforded to me. And it's because I know people that are so much worse off.
And well, yeah, it's like, my late father-in-law, he was an advocate for veterans health care.
Right.
He kept telling me that I should go apply for benefits because I have issues with my hips.
Right.
And, my argument is still the same today. I mean, I was in the National Guard, now I was a full-time guardsman. I was what they call an AGR, but still, I never deployed. I know people that are missing limbs and can't get the care they need.
Got blowed up.
What the heck am I complaining about? Right. I took a fall out on a run one day and ended up in physical therapy for a couple months.
Right.
Okay. People get blowed up and they have a hard time getting their benefits. It's bizarre.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, you go back to, there's not a lot of them left, which is a sad state to say, but there's not a lot of World War II guys left. You look at the Korean War guys, the Vietnam guys, those conflicts, and those guys absolutely were done wrong and are still being done wrong, which is crazy to me, because, our era, Jeff, really started to open up the veterans care, but I don't know why it didn't seem to cover backwards. Right. I really think that there's a weird bureaucracy thing where they're like, well, those guys are old enough that they're going to start dying off and we won't have to cover it. And that's a terrible thing to say, but I absolutely believe it's a truth statement. And, in certain circles within our government and bureaucracy and all that nonsense, whatever. Wow, this has gone to a completely different place we normally go. But it's there. And yes, it's a thing. And there's a lot of things like, in my starting era, you didn't talk about a TBI, traumatic brain injury. You did not discuss PTSD. You did not discuss depression. You didn't discuss anxiety, because those were all looked as weaknesses and bad things. And they would absolutely end your career. Right. Then we started embracing these things, saying, look, man, we need to take care of these things. These are things that we should be addressing because they are real. They're there. Right. And so the stigma started to drop a little bit, and it's been progressively dropping. The stigma has been getting smaller, I guess, is the better way to say it. And I think that's a great thing. But again, there's still portions of the world out there where you can't talk about this kind of stuff. Right. I mean, topics like severe depression in the trucking world could cost you a DOT card. Could. Not will, could. But it's all in someone's interpretation of your medical files that's not the guy you deal with on a regular basis. It's a dude reading your file who's never seen it before, right? PTSD is another one of those things that you could absolutely lose your medical card over. So for us, whoa, don't talk about that stuff yet. That's what these folks need to do. They need to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because we've found, I say the military community is finding that all these different therapies that are out there, when they finally embrace them and vets start embracing, hey man, I'm talking this stuff out and it's making my life better.
Yeah.
And if those guys from eating a barrel or whatever and removing themselves from the planet, man, 100% do something. Sorry.
Yeah, I looked this Travis Mills guy up that Wimpy suggested. I'm going to say go to his website. It's a promotional website, but promotional websites have good information on them. He's got a couple books, Charlie. We're going to have to check those out.
Yeah.
It's got one called, let me get back over there here. Tough as They Come, Staff Sergeant Travis Mills, and 12 here we go again. 12 warrior principles to reclaim and recalibrate your life.
Nice.
Bounce back.
Well, we met that guy at
the operator
event for ES.
Yeah, he was operator that was a double amputee.
Right. And that dude runs Ironman competitions.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a trip, that guy.
And does well. He was cool to talk to, right? I mean, talk about an inspirational dude.
Very humble too, because we like so one of the things that was funny to me about him, so we asked him if we could get him on the show, and sorry guys, we just didn't follow up. We should have.
Yeah,
we still could, but to kind of talk to him and then he could promote his stuff. He's like, well, I don't know, man, I'm not really into the self-promotion thing. What?
Right. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, people just like hear that I'm a good speaker, and then they look me up, and then they invite me to their events.
That dude's a hero to me. I'm just saying. I would have he wouldn't have to self-promote. I would promote the crap out of him right there.
Yeah.
Fanboying, because look, the guy has dealt with some serious adversity and traumatic injuries and a lot of horrible things that our veterans have gone through. And here he is, man. He's out there helping people. He's talking and he's sharing his story and he's sharing his experiences. And I think that that's really important for, we've got a huge military community within the trucking industry. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these guys come to trucking because, you know what? They don't have to deal with anybody else. One person at a time, right?
Yep.
Very solitary, very quiet, not on the edge of flipping out, but the solitude can create problems. So,
it's a weird thing because, you talk to these guys and there's a thing with veterans, even never deploying. They're like, oh, you were in uniform, so I can talk to you. And some of the drivers are literally, they're out here. They needed a job so they could pay the rent or whatever. And they needed to not be around people because they're trying not to smoke a guy.
Right.
Like literally, the rage that they experience over stuff that we complain about because of their experiences, they tend to just take care of business. Okay, right. That's what it is. That's why they feel like they need to be out here by themselves. So it's a kind of a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because, again, like Charlie said, isolation. I'm struggling with that a little bit right now because I was at a point in my career where I was literally home every couple of weeks. Life was good. Changed my business model, and now I'm back to being out for 2 months at a time. And it's tough, man, going back like that. And, I don't have that kind of PTSD.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's crazy. And because of the industry being what it is with the, federal guidelines and all this other stuff, I actually understand why there's so many people out there that are untreated and mm-hmm. what have you. And, it just sucks. I'm going to throw it out there, and I've done it before. If you guys ever need to talk to somebody, look, man, I can listen. We can share some stories. You want me to just shut up and listen and be that shoulder? I'm down. I know quite a few people who are, and just the act of listening. And I mean, don't just yeah, right? If you can have an eye to eye conversation with someone and let them see that you are actively listening. Because when you ask a guy, or if you ask a person, I'm not even going to put a gender on it. Okay. If you ask an individual and you say, "Hey, how are you doing?" and you get, "I'm tired, man." This is important. This is something you should ask. Why are you tired? What's making you tired? And what kind of tired is it? Because there's a flag there for certain demographics, we'll say, to use fancy words, right? Where tired could mean this is my last day here.
Yep.
And sorry, it chokes me up a little bit, but this could be that moment where if you just follow up, why are you tired? What are you tired of? What kind of tired is it, right? And really pay attention to what they say, body language, the way they move their eyes, the demeanor on their face, the expression. All you got to do is listen 9 times out of 10, and you could save a life. You could absolutely save a life. And you may not even ever know that you saved someone's life.
Yeah.
It's not about being a hero. It's just about being a person. It's about being a human being to someone that's hurting or what have you, right? God, I can literally talk hours about this stuff, and I apologize, but I don't apologize. Sorry, not sorry.
But Charlie, you do have to answer the phone for that to work.
You're right. But you know what? Look, people that I'm aware of, right? That we have had a brief discussion about these things. No, there's a hotline to me, right? They say certain things, and I will absolutely answer that call. I failed someone in my brain. I failed someone years ago. And I live with that. And it was a family member, right? That adds to my own happy stuff. Not happy. But after that person left our planet, I refuse to say no. I refuse to not take some time and talk to people. When look, sometimes it requires you to say, "Hey, man, no, I really need a serious conversation. I'm having a bad day." I mean, you look at Jeff and I, and a lot of our guys, and a lot of us are on the phone all day long, talking business and coaching and things of that nature, right? Don't think for a minute that if you send me a text message and say, "Look, man, I'm having one of those days. I need to talk." I will hang up on Jeff. I will hang up on Ida. I don't care. We'll have that conversation. If all you need me to do is listen, I will absolutely listen. If you want some advice, if you want to share stories, we can do that. I mean, sometimes it really is just a matter of being there and being the one to listen. That's all that it takes. So, I've talked to people who I don't particularly like. And maybe that's a harsh thing to say, but I don't particularly like these people. But you know what? I will absolutely be there. I will open my heart. I will open my mind and my ears, and I will listen to them, and I will look them in the eye and be there for them is the best way that I can. So I'm telling all of you, if you need to reach out to me, most of you know how to get a hold of me. How to get a hold of me is all over the channels and things like that. Please find someone you can talk to, whether it's me, Jeff, a pastor, a preacher, whatever your denomination has, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a buddy, whatever. Don't not talk. It's not going to do you any good. And when you hear things like, "I'm tired," no, I'm fine. I'm fine. No, I'm fine. A lot of times you watch that fine progression, you will see a change in their eyes, their face, and their body language. No, you really okay, man? No, really. And be present and be genuine. If you can't do that, pound sand, move on, find someone who can help this person. You know? Exactly, Sean. I know the stresses you have. Not calling anyone out on anything specifically. No, Jim, you know what? I can absolutely talk someone's ear off. I absolutely can. You would be amazed, sir.
We know somebody that can do it better than you, though.
Yeah. But you would be amazed at how good a listener I can be when it's one of those types of things. You know? It's there's so many things that we can do now for each other and just look after each other. And it's just like, I say every week at the end of the show, look after each other. There's no one out here looking after us but us. That's the trucking community. That's the veteran community. That's the human race. It's unfortunate to say, but you look at, and I don't think it's the majority, but there does seem to be a leaning that way.
Mm-hmm.
That everybody's just kind of wrapped up in their own nonsense, and I shouldn't say nonsense because that dismisses it. Things that are important to you are not necessarily important to someone else. That's a problem sometimes. You need to be open to understand that while this may not be a thing that you are passionate about, this is something that's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
Take a little time out of your day. Just a little bit of time. You could save someone's life. You could make someone's life mean something. Who knows? Maybe that person saves someone else just because they're like, man, somebody listen to me. Maybe I'm gonna listen to the next guy. I don't know. Sorry, not sorry. Like I said, I can talk about this stuff for hours. Jeff knows that when I go off on this tangent, it can get rocky, and I am actually known to tear up and cry, and nobody wants to see me cry because I do not cry pretty. I cry ugly, but I'll do it for you if that's what we need to do. So, yeah, it's out there. I don't talk about it enough with people. Whatever. Let's talk. If you need it, you got to let me know, though. You got to be honest with yourself to be honest with anyone else. It starts there. You got to say, hey, I'm not okay. I'm not fine. I can't do this by myself. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's courage. That takes great strength and courage, especially for mine and Jeff's generation of men and those before us. No, it is. To open up and say something, I can't do this. That is one of the hardest things that comes out of my mouth. I can't do this alone. I can't do this. It has been the struggle of my life to say, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this by myself. I need some help. So whatever. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the other group of people beyond truckers, Charlie, that have these issues is entrepreneurs, period, especially with the digital age.
Right.
Because they sit in front of their computers all day trying to pitch, trying to do their Facebooks, doing all the things that a quote influencer does.
Right.
And they're by themselves all the time.
Right.
A situation where you're isolated most of the time away from other people. I still have good friends from places I've worked for in the past. When you're in an office, when you're in a foundry or whatever the job might be, you're around other people. That's not the case for us. Some people are fortunate, like you, Charlie, to have your wife out with you.
Right.
But again, that's not the normal for a truck driver.
Right. And look, full disclosure, it can be a blessing and a curse. Just saying. We get our moments, but more times than not, it is absolutely a blessing. Exactly. Mental health is real, Craig. I wish we talked about this more often, and I wish it wasn't still such. It still seems a little taboo at times, and because of our industry being what it is. And I look, I get the concern from the industry. I do. It's not lost on me. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You got a severely depressed guy with PTSD and some impulse control issues, right? Driving 80,000 pounds down the road, fuel truck, big truck, dry, could be salt. Who cares? Doesn't matter what it is, still a lot of weight. Maybe we want to keep a closer eye on that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is their only means of
income.
Yeah.
I that's one of the things that, you and I have talked, especially over the last 30 days or so. I think that they do a lot of throwing the baby out with the bathwater on this one. They don't they don't look at it as an individual like I think they should.
Right.
They if you have, any number of things, depression, if you have heart condition, diabetes, a whole host of things, they throw you into this basket and say you can't drive.
Right.
Now, talking to my doctor, I don't have the mental health issues. Well, I do, but not that severe.
Right.
I mean, we're all nuts for being out here, but
none of us think they're bad. It's okay.
Well, if you think you're crazy, that's the first indication that you're probably not crazy, is what they say.
Right.
But I'm talking to my doctor. He's like, really, there's no medical reason why you can't drive with an A1C over 8. Somebody at the FMCSA pulled that out of their butt and decided that was the number.
Right.
Because I asked him about that. We've talked about this, Charlie. Those guys with the diabetes scars up and down their legs wearing the compression socks.
Right.
How do they have a CDL?
Purple legs.
Folks, do you realize how bad your blood sugar control has to be to get to that point?
For real.
I'm worried when I see those guys. I hope they either leave way before me, or they're there for a 34 and I can get out before they start driving. Okay.
Right.
So they lump me in with that guy.
Grab a battery.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I do think that there's a lot of throwing the baby out with the bathwater on this one. One of the things that I think I like Craig and those of you guys that know me really well, with my educational background and my skill set, trucking has been a great career. I know quite a bit about business and things like that, but I don't have the piece of paper saying that I do. Right.
Right.
So trucking is how I make my money, and it's great. And unfortunately, I come from I was telling Tony this the other day, because he likes to tell me that I can cure my diabetes, which that's not a thing. Just so you all know, you can't cure diabetes. If you have diabetes, you have diabetes. Everybody on both sides of my family, mother and father, had diabetes. Everybody. So that leads you to suspect that maybe it's a genetic issue, right, Charlie?
Right.
So typically, people in my family line end up with problems starting in their late 40s, early 50s. I'm 51. Guess what? It's hitting me hard. So they throw me in with these people that are on death's door, if you just look at them, and I call BS. And to a greater extent, the mental health thing. I don't know what they are, but if you're on certain antidepressants, things like that, you can't drive. Even though when you look at these things that people take to help them with their depression, they actually work. They're okay if they're on their meds. It's a disqualifier. Why? Because somebody at the FMCA decided it was.
Right.
Not because of any medical opinion. And I just think it's crap, Charlie. It puts people in a bad situation where they could be okay. They could. But if they do that, they put their livelihood at risk. So they suffer in silence most of the time. That's my rant. You got your rant. I got my rant. We're good.
I dig it, man. Well, like Trucker Tim said, yeah, mental health is definitely real. Sadly, we as a society ignore and embrace a lot of these mental health issues rather than try to get them care, right?
Yeah.
The
whole "I'm okay, you're okay" thing.
Right.
I get the importance of having a good self-esteem. I do. Contrary to my teacher's belief, I've tried to instill that in them because all children think that you're always just down on them, no matter what you do.
Right.
But I get that that's a component to mental health, but it's not the whole picture. There's times when you just need a little help.
Right. And you know what? Get the help. Ask for it. Yeah. It's tough. I know. It's tough. Like I said, I believe that's courage. That's bravery. That's the strong thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave this planet by your own hand.
Oh, that's a thing too. Wimpy brought up a good thing. Good point. As you get older, especially Charlie and I have both complained about this. He said the negative 20-degree temps the last few weeks was terrible on my joints. Could hardly walk this week, but back above freezing and I feel great. Yep. That's another one of those things, Charlie. My dad warned me about that. Right. And I didn't believe him. And now here I am. I'm probably about a year away from just buying a box of Bengay, dude.
Right. Buy it by the caseload.
You're gonna smell me coming because that stuff is potent.
Yeah, I just says physical health is just as important as mental health, and I absolutely agree. We so often forget about physical health in the trucking industry. I mean, our lifestyle, it's sedentary. Yeah. We sit, and at the end of a 12, 14-hour day, who the hell wants to get out and walk around, right? I mean, you have to make an effort to do that.
And that is part of the holistic thing.
Right.
People throw that word around, but what holistic health actually means is the whole package, looking at everything. Your physical health has a direct influence on your mental health.
Right.
Here's a hard thing for men to say, but Donna will tell you I actually say it from time to time. There's times, Charlie, when I feel fat.
Right.
People think that people, for whatever reason, think that women are the only ones that feel that way. There are times when I feel fat.
Right.
And it definitely affects my attitude. Oh, screw it. I might as well go to McDonald's. I'm fat anyway. That's the worst thing I could do as a diabetic.
Right. Right.
Better to go take a walk. Because what I noticed is if you go take a walk, it kind of clears it out. And you start feeling better. Just that little bit of exercise. That's why, I tell people, I park in the back 40 of truck stops on purpose. Because if nothing else, I have to walk to go to the bathroom. It makes me walk. I'm not as felt as I once was. Those of you that have met me notice a little pooch. But I'm also not 300 pounds at 5'7".
Look, I did not see it on a scale. I saw 298 on the scale, and I know I gained weight after that. I refused to get on the scale after that. And then, some months later, maybe half a year later, I'm like, I got to do something about this. So I'm fairly certain I exceeded the 300 mark. And for me, with my physical issues, right, not a good combination of being obese and having, 3 fractured vertebrae in my life. Mm-hmm. Right. And trucking and whatever else. Right. I mean, my spine is just part of my injuries that I sustained. Right. But there's so much involved with it. But now I'm steady at apparently my doctor's not okay with me getting naked to get on the scale. So the weight that I give them, that they give me every time I go in there is like 195 to 198.
Mm-hmm.
And
how
I'm
tall are you?
At home, I'm 193, sir. Close.
How tall are you?
75 inches, 6'3".
Yeah. See, I'm 5'7" and I weigh in at 210 right now, which is heavy
Right.
for a 5'7" guy.
Right. And that takes a toll. I mean, it takes a toll on your joints. People that know me, you guys know I complain about all the arthritis and metal in my body, and the weather, the weight, all these things, they add up, and it gets tough. And believe it or not, it affects your mental health as well, which can then in turn create this vicious cycle. You're like, oh, I'm sad because I'm overweight. Oh, I'm overweight because I'm sad. And it feeds off itself, right? Look, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to admit, there's some issues. There's some things you could do better. There's some help that you could seek. There are resources out there. There's free resources. There's expensive resources. I mean,
hey, if you've got the money, there's actually a service out there if you're dealing with depression specifically. Better Health, I think it's called. Have you seen that one, Charlie?
Yeah.
It's 100% Zoom call counselors. It's not that much more expensive than a regular counselor, and I don't think that insurance covers it. But I've looked into that a little bit, and I think that's going to help a lot of people. This everything being online thing for those of us that are in a different city every single day. So there are services out there. There seems to be an AA type group for just about everything out there these days, and a lot of them are online. There's Facebook groups. There's all sorts of things that don't cost anything, and all you're doing is joining a group of people that are struggling as you are, and you support each other. I think that above all else, as fun as Facebook can be, that right there is what makes me think that that social media has a positive.
Right. Look, if you've ever thought about, if you're at one of those points in your life and you're thinking about removing yourself from the planet, call somebody, talk to somebody, dial 988. If you're a vet, they even have a special option just for you, because our group of people tends to have a different view of things and a way of talking, and those people they're trained to deal with us.
Yep.
Don't be afraid. It's anonymous. I mean, look, and maybe they'll guide you to resources that can help you get through that point in time, because this thing that's getting you right this minute, right now, that you're at that point, it's easy to say this too shall pass, but sometimes just having someone to help you walk through it and change your perspective, or just listen, can be all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. Ida says she used one of those services called Cerebral, and her insurance did cover it.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, there's been times in my life, Charlie, where I've gone to a therapist.
Right.
Those of you that know me know that our firstborn son only lived for 18 hours, and that threw me for a big loop. And I denied it for years. I was not a nice person. Donna will tell you it really almost cost us our relationship. It almost cost us our marriage. And then I went and got help, and things changed. So, I'm just saying, don't think you're alone. That's my point. We've all been through something.
For real. On that note, you guys, we're at our mark. I'm gonna wrap it there, and I'm okay with wrapping it on this subject. I think this is important, and you know what? If you guys know anybody, you can find the spot where we started down this path today, this little bit of a journey, a little deep insight. You can go to the YouTube channel, find that spot. If you're on a computer or a laptop or something like that, you can pause it right at that moment and then hit the share link, and it'll say share this from this point.
Yep.
Right. And you'll send them a link, and it'll start right then and there. And that's where they'll jump to, and they can, ignore the business stuff, because I think that this is so powerful and important to get out there that, by all means, please share that stuff. If you know somebody, if it's you and you need to save it on your phone and just come back to it and be like, hey, look, I'm not alone. I assure you, you are not. Save this stuff. Have the courage and the strength. Look, Sandy, some of you guys may not know, Sandy is an amazing woman. And Sandy will absolutely take time out of her day just to be that shoulder for you. Sandy and I have had amazing conversations. Sandy's from Seabright Agency. But she will absolutely step out of that work role and be there as someone to listen to. Amazing woman. And she's also pretty awesome about the insurance stuff. Sandy, I had a question earlier. Don't know if you heard that or not. I'm going to throw it at you now, and maybe you could text me the answer. If they have something along the lines of they put their truck in the shop and they got a rental, if their truck that goes into the shop has a much lower value than the truck that they're renting, is there an adjustment to the rate for that short time that they have that rental truck? Yeah. Let me know, but not going to put you on the spot here. Text me and I'll get that out to folks and let them know when I get that answer. But yeah, I want to go back to this. You guys be safe. Take care of each other. Take a couple minutes out of your day and be human to another human being. Oh, Sandy says no adjustments. There you go. Jeff, what do you got? What are you going to wrap with?
The same thing I wrap with every week, Charlie.
Oh, I feel like this is a pink in the brain moment.
Yes. Remember, with no action, there is no traction. And especially in what we talked about this last hour or so, guys.
Real talk right there.
Don't just sit on it. Act.
It's not going to go away.
The cliche, the life you would save may be your own. Maybe through getting involved and being honest about where you're at, you're helping someone else too. And there's power in that. Just act. Do something.
Right. Please. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, it is a tremendous thing to us that you take time out of your day every week and come hang out with us when you're watching this on the replay or whether you're live. We dig you guys. Love you. Remember, look after each other. There's no one out here looking after us but us. We'll see you guys here next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, I look forward to it. This is therapy for me too, by the way. Just saying. We'll see you guys soon. And I should hit the